What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday Recap Podcast. This is the 50th episode. Confetti.
Let's go.
This is the Jubilee episode of the podcast. Let's go. And I am here with Pastor Wes. Pastor Wes, my dad, actually. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Hey, you're welcome. You were actually here a little bit earlier than I was, so I feel like I'm a guest on your podcast today.
All right.
So, but yeah, so we're getting into the message. First of all, it's been a minute since you've been on the podcast in general.
It has. It's changed a lot.
Yes, it has.
The new vibes. Yes,
it's very more casual. We sit down. You were asking me earlier, you're like, where's your notes? I'm like, they're right here. The flow of conversation, we like that. There's not a lot of notes going on there sometimes, but this is a good flow. And I think we're going to have a good flow podcast today because we can kind of go through, almost this train of thought with Mary and Martha. But before I get into the message, let's talk about the message title. And I actually want to talk about the message title dilemma that you have every time, okay. A little bit of behind the scenes. So if this is really funny. So if you don't know, some of my responsibilities is that on Sunday morning, I'll be like, talk to whoever's speaking, a lot of times Pastor Steph, and whoever it is, I'll go, okay, do we have any things we want to put on the screens today? And it's like, well, no, I don't. I mean, I have these verses, but like points, maybe not. But no matter what, we have verses and a title. That's not the case with you.
It's not the case.
No, because I go, what are you calling it? And you're like, I don't know. Let's wait till the message is over. Why is that? Why does it take you? Why is it so hard for you to get a title?
I don't know. I'm just not good at it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know the answer.
No answer on that one.
No answer.
No answer. Decline answer.
It's hard for me to even put thoughts to what I'm about to say in like a one line. If you're like, if you just have one line about what you're about to talk about, what is it? It's hard for me to like put that down.
Yeah.
So it's hard to come up with a title half the time.
Well, How to Sit at the Feet of Jesus, I think, is a pretty good representation of, a lot of that. Like if you were to clip what was the most said phrase in the message, probably would be sitting at the feet of Jesus, And the way that this message kind of happened was, you and Pastor Steph talking about, you and the season, inspired by her last message about time and seasons, right? And then you kind of carrying on that going into the season that you've been in personally in your personal life. And really like what you opened up with was like, I want to share this testimony. Sure. A testimony that I have, which to me, in my limited speaking engagements, that's fun. Being able to share directly, not that, but like, this is like, listen, I've read these stories in the Bible, I'm preaching this concept, that's another one, but this type of message, this testimony is like, I'm living proof that I got it right here,
Yeah, 100%.
So, I guess for you, what made you, lean towards this? Like, how was Pastor Steph's message on seasons, the week before, like really highlight this message that you have this time?
Yeah, well, for sure. Me and Pastor Steph were in a lot of conversations, and we've been in a lot of conversations this last season of my life. Mm-hmm. And I've been really talking to her a lot about what the Lord's had me on and finding the secret place in my life and different things like that. And so when this opportunity came up, about seasons and especially the frustrations of seasons. That's what lots of people feel is I don't know where I'm sitting at in this season. I don't know if this season's over, if what I'm supposed to learn or any of those things. And so I've definitely been in a season like that this last season of my life. And she knew that, and we've had a lot of conversations about it. So she was asking me to come up and share about that idea and the what I've found to be true in my life in those seasons.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think that it was cool for, speaking for, people in the crowd, like in the congregation, like being able to hear the vulnerability, I would say, even of like a pastor figure being like, I suck at this, or I did suck at this, or I'm in the middle of sucking at this. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's really good. And probably produced a lot of feedback on that message too, just being like, hey, like, appreciate you for highlighting that piece. I think that's a good angle to come out with it too, because it is like sometimes from a preaching standpoint, it's like hard to share that, like, and Pastor always talks about, she's like, listen, I'm only preaching it this week because I just went through it, and or she's like, I'm not even through it yet, but at least I can talk to some things about it, So, I thought that was a cool piece of the message too, just being like, I just want to start off by saying this was very hard for me. This is a thing. And I'm like really breaching on the other side of it. That's why I'm being able to even share this testimony with you guys.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. I don't think that's really important. I think that's important to understand. Just a few things about that is, you know, all of us are rookies at the things of the Lord, and you never arrive past that. It's you know, when you are young in the Lord, you think the goal is to understand, and as you go on the journey to understand, you realize how grand the Lord is, and then how much you will never understand. Right. You know? Yeah. And it's just like Paul, when he first started his ministry, he was like, hey, I'm the Hebrew of Hebrews. I know, you know, all of this stuff. I'm the most learned of all of you. Yeah. And then right before he passed, he was like, I'm actually the lowest of the low. I'm the sinner of sinners. Yeah. You know, because when you start to contrast you as a human to God, you realize how far off you really are. Right. Yeah. No, that's good. There's a great chasm between you and the Lord, you know, and that's really what happened with Job. You know, that's really the story of Job. Yeah. And when it all went down, God goes, hey, come up here a second and let me show you a few things. Yeah. And he was like, where were you at when I created this galaxy? Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, I don't know anything. Yeah. Like, right. So yeah, I can feel like that. No, yeah, that's good, and I like I said, I think that's a good point for people to hear. Like, we're all rookies, you know, and so you know, you kind of starting off this message, going in and bringing up Mary and Martha, right, and really like speaking this message through both of their perspectives and really highlighting the importance of Mary's perspective, and I think that you know, you started talking about Mary and Martha with this preconceived, like everyone kind of knows this story of when Jesus comes and visits, you know, and Martha is walking around trying to prepare the food and trying to do all these different things for Jesus and the disciples. And she like is upset at Mary for what is she doing? She's not helping, but she's sitting at Jesus's feet. And I think, even that in itself, right there, that story has produced so many different messages. And I think it's actually a really big part for us in ministry as people that, you know, work in ministry, or, you know, you work not a ministry job, but you come and spend all your time doing ministry things too. Sure. Is that you can, I think it's really easy to gain and get significance and scratch the itch with the things that you do for God. Right. And do for Jesus. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, no, you know, and that a piece we don't catch a lot of times is when Jesus talks to Martha and goes, Martha, Martha. Anytime you find in the scriptures where a word is doubled like that, it's brought to the second power, it's meant strongly. Yeah. It wasn't like, now Martha, Martha. Yeah. It was a pretty strong rebuke. And then, especially in that time, he was actually comparing her to her sister in that. So that's very insulting. Yes. You know? And so it was meant to bring like, hey, there's an importance here that we need to understand. Yeah. And we need to really lock into the difference between these two and how much more a priority is what Mary was doing than Martha. Yeah. You know? And so, and then something that really the Lord in real time when I was speaking on Sunday brought up, and I said something about it, but I didn't really actually process it. Yeah. Is they were both in the house with Jesus. Yeah. And like, you can feel like you're all right. You know? Yeah. Like, think about that for a second. You know, you were both in the house with Jesus, like nothing had happened yet. Yeah. You know? And so many times in my life, I'm sure you can agree on this, when things are going good, you're like, it's fine. I'm in proximity of Jesus. Right. I mean, he's in the room with me, so we're doing something right. Right. But no, sitting at his feet, you know, kind of going back to what you were saying about being in ministry and stuff, you can be doing a lot of stuff for Jesus. You can feel like you're all right. Yeah. That's good. That's stuff we should be doing that's good until it goes wrong. Yeah. And then you're like, why do I feel such lack? Why do I still feel such proximity pull? Why do I feel like my foundation is so shaken? Yeah. It's like, because like you had the opportunity to sit at his feet and you were just in the house with him.
You know, that's a good point, because even to me, when you were speaking in the message, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, so he's talking about Mary and Martha, but he's actually not talking about you. You're actually not highlighting the story of, which is the story I think everyone knows a little bit more clear, which is the one where Martha gets upset at Mary, you know, for being at Jesus's feet. Like, you reference that as a reference point, but you were talking, why were you talking about at the point where Lazarus died? And it's because that was a problem point.
That was a problem point.
Right. There was actually, it's what you were just saying. It's like, you may be okay, or at least perceive yourself as being okay when nothing is going that wrong, and there's no trial and no tribulation, and you're just like, yeah, I mean, I'm up here, I'm doing things for God, I'm living for God, I'm doing all these different things, like, for sure. Well, then when there's actual problem and you feel this distance and you're like, oh man, I actually wasn't living for God. So now that there is a problem, it is not, I'm not as close to him as I think I need to. I wasn't in the correct position.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, even that right there brings a little bit more clarity, or at least like, oh wow, that's really good that you chose to speak about that point, because there was a problem point.
Sure.
You know? And I'm sure that, you know, everyone's listening, and I'm sure you, and I know me, there's different points in our lives where we have those, you know, you may have lost someone, or there may have been some, maybe you lost your job, maybe there's trouble with your family, maybe there's trouble with your finances, whatever it is. Insert your story with this Lazarus dying. Insert your problem with that. Like, you know which one that you're at immediately, and you feel it immediately.
You feel it.
Because, and I think that's, and you got to be careful too about like how you're saying that, because you don't want to be like, you weren't prepared when that tragedy happened. And it's like, not about being prepared. It's about being close to the one. It's not about being prepared and having the answers when that problem happens. It's just that, like, are you sitting at the feet of the one who has the answers when that problem happens?
For sure. No, 100%. What you're saying, it's not that things aren't going to happen.
Right.
It says in the scriptures, it rains on the just and the unjust. Right. So there is no, and God's not a respecter of person. So like, we live in a broken world, and like, things are going to happen to you all through the scriptures. Right. Something happened to every single person. It's when it happens, though, does it literally rock your foundation of who you are? You know, I think that's the key there. The more it rocks the foundation of who you are, the more it highlights the foundation. You know, when the pressure comes is when the cracks in the foundation start to like show themselves. So,
it's the sand in on rock. You know, it's which one are you building on? And I think even that phrase, what are you building your foundation on, for some reason makes us think it's like works.
Right.
Like, it's works. What am I building on? What am I going and building? I'm building this thing for Jesus. I'm doing all this stuff when, like, you know, if you look at my Instagram bio, it says I strategically have them put in like these different places, and it's like the list of things that I am, and it's like child of God, you know, ambassador of Christ, and then it's like husband to Amanda, and then it's like creative director, worship leader at LS Church. I do those in order because it's like God, you know, family and ministry. Right. But even more specifically, I have child of God first. Right. Before I have worship leader, before I have husband, before I have whatever. And I also feel this need every single time I pray for men. Like, when men come in and ask for prayer, I always pray. The first thing I say is like to remind them that they are a child of God. Yeah. And they're sitting in dad's lap. Right. Right. And they're at his feet. Right. Because that's actually the strong foundation.
Sure. Yeah.
And which is very contradicting of what the world says a strong foundation is. What have you built with your hands? It's like, actually, whose lap are you sitting in? Yeah. And it's super, you know, I know you love listening to pastors that are like super into you know, being the bride of Christ and being like, it's just like opposite of masculating, because it's that sitting at the feet of Jesus, that it's like, it's opposite on what we think. It's opposite on what we're doing. And even us, I think sometimes as men are comfortable and proud of wearing on a t-shirt. Think about all the Christian t-shirts that dudes wear around not a lot of them say sitting in dad's lap. You know what I mean?
100%.
Sitting at Jesus' feet. And it's because, I mean, that's truthfully the strong foundation.
Yeah.
That you're built on.
The submitted person is actually the strongest person.
Right.
The submitted man is the strongest man. When the centurion soldier comes up to Jesus, he was a man of great stature in society, and Jesus was actually afraid of him, really, because like if that conversation wouldn't have went right, he could have got thrown in jail or whatever. So when he shows up, and he says, "Hey, my servant's sick," Jesus immediately goes, "Hey, well, I'll go with you and we'll go take care of this thing." And this is what he says. He said, "No, I don't need you to go anywhere. You hold such power, and I'm watching you hold such power that it's beyond your ability as a human to wield. So you're submitted to someone." He's like, and I understand authority and I understand submission. And so it's the highest value. And so you just say the word and it's done. And Jesus is like, I've never seen faith like this before, ever. Because only people of that level of stature understand submission and authority like that.
Absolutely.
So it's the strongest position to be in.
And I want to kind of go into that. Even there's a piece of your message where you were talking about, at times in your life where you're like, man, I'm out in front of the Lord. I am not submitted.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you got a lot of feedback from that, but I know I have in the conversation I've had of people being like multiple conversations I've had since Sunday has just been like, it's like, what Pastor West was saying about us walking out in front. Like, man, do we walk out in front so often?
I walk out in front so much. Yeah, that's definitely been one of the biggest awareness pieces that the Lord's brought me in this last season. How much I assume I understand, right? And I don't understand anything. And because like we're not, it actually says in the scriptures, it is very arrogant to say in a couple weeks I will. It said it would be better for you to say, if the Lord wills it, I will, or if the Lord doesn't will it, I won't. Because you actually don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and you actually don't even know what's going to happen later today. After this podcast. We have no idea what's going to happen in our life. Right. And it's arrogant to say that we know, because the only one who does know is the Lord himself. And so that's why it says, don't be anxious about tomorrow. Don't even think about tomorrow. Tomorrow has worries of its own. Just think about today and live present in today. And I was thinking about that idea. In man's kingdom, projection is power. Think about that. Projection is power. Man's kingdom wants a leader that can project. What are we doing in a year? What are we doing in 5 years? Right.
Who's got the vision?
Right. CEOs get to be the CEO because they have the best projection. Hey, listen, you put your investment here. In 3 years, it's going to look like this. I love Shark Tank is one of my favorite shows on TV. And they're always talking about like, okay, what's your sales going to be next year? And they're like, you're a good CEO if you can project next year, And that was the beauty of God. God's people were never supposed to have a king. He was like, just follow me. And so they just literally followed a cloud around. This is like the opposite of man's kingdom.
Absolutely.
And he was just like, well, I'm here right now, right? Yes. Well, then we're going to stay here. It's like, if I move over there, blow a horn and we'll all go over there. And it's the flip opposite of man's kingdom.
It's that compass living, like just go north and you're like, but the GPS tells me when and where I'm going to be there. It's like, we don't do that here.
And so if we're not careful, we will live our life by man's kingdom, not God's kingdom. And he's never wanted us to live this way. Literally, the thing that the Lord tells me all the time, he's like, what's the decision to make today? Don't make the decision for tomorrow. You got to make a decision for today.
That's good.
And so many of us live thinking about decisions that are tomorrow, a week from now. So they won't make a decision today, but those days don't even exist. And so, but if you would just follow what the Lord says today, he'll tell you what the next step is tomorrow.
And it's that thing it's what you're saying. It's the opposite, because that seems so irresponsible in man's world. Yeah. It's like, what do you mean you don't have a plan? Stupid. Yes, you have a plan, and it's like, it's completely, because then when we get out in front, we start making a plan. We don't allow room for what the Lord wants to do in our lives.
Sure.
And you don't, and I even think, I wanted to bring this up too, which is funny, because it's like, you can get out and plan, right? And I think we can all wrap our heads around, when we do things without the Lord speaking to us, that's getting out in front. Also, you can hear what the Lord says and do do something that you've heard him say, and that you can still get out in front of him in that way, because you pushed it farther than what he's asked you to go. Or maybe he was planting a seed and you go, God, I got it. I know what to do from now.
Sure.
We only take a piece of it.
Sure.
Right. And I think that's a big piece of it too. Sometimes is that you're like, because I think everyone can go, yes, I get out in front of the Lord because I do things that I didn't consult him about. I can do whatever. Well, guess what? Sometimes you can take something that he's given you and still go out in front of him with it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And get out in front in that way.
100%. And it's so easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do because you're so hardwired to just like run.
Yes.
Like because you're just looking for that little voice for the Lord. He's so gracious to give it to you.
Yeah.
But you just end up way over there, And he just this last season of my life, he was just poking me. Hey, you did it again. Hey, you did it again. You did it again. And it's almost a crippling feeling.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, what am I supposed to do then?
Yeah.
It's like, you just want me to sit here.
Yep.
And wait for the next thing.
I love when you did the silence thing on Sunday. That was funny. Martin, quit playing. All right, that was too much. You know what I mean? It's so true. We cannot sit in silence.
For sure. And you know what? I really do believe that the Lord is calling his people back to basics, back to the secret place, back to prayer, back to silence, back to those things. And the devil is not creative. And if you can see the devil as not creative, and he's not very smart either. And if you just look at things in society that are troubling humanity at a mass scale, and you can see the root of those things, you can find the kingdom principle in that and see what the devil's coming against.
Yep.
And it's so crazy. Think of what's under attack. One of the highest things that's under attack right now, our attention.
Yep.
Our attention is a multi-trillion-dollar
business.
industry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about the social media, all about, we have 5-second attention spans. And I love social media. I think it's a really great tool. But however, simultaneously, it is keeping our attention span at almost nothing.
Yeah.
And if we can stay distracted, then we can't hear the voice of God.
Yep.
Because the voice of God is in the silence. The voice of God is in the secret place.
Yep.
The voice of God is in the whisper.
Yep.
Yeah. But God's always speaking to us.
Yeah.
We just never put ourselves in a space to hear.
Yep.
We're always worried about something else. We're always on to something else. It just keeps us distracted.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to get into now, talking about, not only this this part of the Bible that you were speaking on with Mary and Martha and Jesus and his approach to Lazarus' death, but I also want to talk about this this actual journey that you went on when you're in your life of going to the secret place. Speaking on that, and maybe we can spend some time too talking a little bit more specifically on what does that look like for people who have never even attempted that before. So maybe you can take us off and start us off with when did you feel this all right, God's calling me to slow down? Was it this message you were listening to?
Yeah, it was a message I was listening to. I'd heard about the secret place. I've grown up in church.
Yeah.
I've heard about the secret place so many times. Read books on it, different things. There was this, but I'd never been in proximity of somebody that I sat down and talked to about it that was living it.
Yeah.
And every message or anything that I'd heard on it was a very conceptual idea. It was just like, hey, this is important. This is what the scripture says about it, yada, yada. But in this particular message, he like broke it down, and he talked about what he did there.
Yeah.
And I highly respect him. And there were pieces of his life that just from afar, I wanted in my life, and that's what I was really talking about at the beginning of that message about your testimony.
Yeah.
When you give testimony, and if somebody says, "Hey, the Lord did this in my life," and that fruit in their life is what you want. If you reach out and grab it, you will receive it. That's literally what testimony means.
That's really good.
To do it again.
Yeah.
God is willing to do it if you are willing to receive it.
That's really good.
And so, like I said, he was talking about this area of his life. He equated it to the secret place living that he was living. And then he was like talking about how he got there. And I was like, man, I just felt the Lord drawing me to it. And so I was like, I'm going to wake up and try, and he was just talking about spending time in silence with the Lord. Yeah. And making that a piece of the discipline of your life. Yeah. And I woke up the next day, like I said, and tried it. And it was so hard, to do. But man, through that journey, the Lord has done a work in my life. Yeah. In that, I think there's a couple of things as I've navigated conversation with people about the secret place that you got to kind of understand. Yeah. Okay. The first thing that you kind of have to understand is that it's a going away. Okay. It's a setting aside of time. It's intentionality. It's like, I'm going to go spend time with God, And so, I equated to this tent and stuff, but it was this room in our house before. Now we don't have another room in there. But even this last weekend, I was on a trip in our hotel. And the only thing I could think about is where I'm going to go spend time with the Lord. That's at the top of my mind. Every day. Yeah. I'm like, where am I going to go? And I'm thankful that I have my tent now and all this stuff. But when I'm out on the road, I'm like, where am I going to spend time with the Lord? Yeah. So I spend some of my journey there trying to figure that out. And so I was in this hotel, and a lot of times I'll find little nooks and stuff in the lobbies of hotels. But this one was set up really weird, and I was kind of like frantic about it. Yeah. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go spend time with the Lord. And our bathroom was oversized for some reason. It had these big barn doors on it. And I was like, this is a big bathroom. I was like, and there's a desk chair. I can wheel this desk chair into here and close the door, And that's what I did. Yeah. And so I didn't even have to leave the hotel room this time. That was good. Yeah. But it's intentionality. Yeah. And it's like, I'm going to go meet with the Lord, and you don't realize how much that means. Yeah. Just that intentionality right there. It's like, I'm going to set aside this time. I'm going to set aside this space for you, Lord. Yeah. That I'm going to meet with you herein. It's powerful. Yeah. But you have to understand this, with that intentionality, but you have to understand what you're attempting to do when you get there. And I don't think that I ever understood this, or when I talk to people, this is brought up. God himself is a being that exists outside of space and time. Heaven talks about God, and the highest characteristic of God is his holiness. Yeah. That's heaven's song. The song in heaven is holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. And literally the word holy means transcendently different than anything you can understand. Yeah. Now think about that for a second. Transcendently different than anything you can understand, exists outside of space and time. So when you're setting aside time to try to commune with and communicate with someone who exists outside of space and time, that's a little hard to wrap your brain around. Right. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. That just means that that's what you're going for. That's what you're trying to do. That's what you're trying to accomplish. Yeah. So many times people go like, okay, when you got in there, what did you do? Yeah. You're trying to interact with a being that exists outside of space and time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wild thought.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's really what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a time in the scriptures where Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up onto the mountain and transfigures in front of them. He literally bridges the plane between the natural and the supernatural and starts glowing. Mm-hmm. And it says Peter, and he's sitting there talking. He's talking to people in another dimension, literally. Mm-hmm. And Peter interrupts them and goes, "Hey, I'm so glad that I'm here. I'm going to build you guys some tents." And that's what it says in the scriptures. And it says Peter offered to build them Peter offered to build them tents because he didn't know what to do. Yeah. And you know, so many times that's what people say. They're like, "Okay, I tried this, but like I didn't know what to do. So I like prayed all these prayers and said all these things and did all these things. But then like, what do you do when like you're done?"
Yeah.
And the thought behind it is, you know, the Lord graciously gives us pathways to find our way, if you will, to Him, to bridge the plane, if you will.
Yeah.
To try to interact with someone, a being that exists outside of space and time, in prayer, in worshiping Him, in the scriptures, but they're paths. They're not actual destinations. It should arrive you at an interaction with a being outside of space.
That's really, really good.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
But like, that's literally what you're attempting to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just like, you know, I heard this said about the scriptures once. The scriptures are a pathway, ancient pathway to the Lord. You know, I heard it said like this, the Bible is the only book that the author must be present when it's read. And if you understood that, what he was trying to say is, yes, the word is alive. The word is a person. It's not a book, if you will.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It's like our Bibles. Each one of those Bibles isn't a mini Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a book written about a person who is alive and wants to meet with you and cross from the supernatural into the natural, from the supernatural, from the spiritual plane into the natural plane and commune with you. In John 15, it says this: "If you love me and you keep my commandments, I will go to my Father and we will come to you and we will make our home with you." Another, and right there in the in John 2, it says this: "If you love me and you keep my commandments, I will come to you and I will manifest myself to you." It's a powerful promise.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's what it says. If you will go to me in the secret place, my Father who is found in the secret place will come and he'll reward you. What's the reward? An encounter with a being outside of time and space.
And I think that's funny too, because for us, we go, okay, where's my reward?
Yep.
And like, and I think, and I don't want to be like, oh, until you get it, you don't get it till you get it. But truthfully, when you feel that encounter, that presence, you won't be thinking about monetary rewards. You'll see the reward is the encounter.
100%.
You know?
100%. You know, everything is artificial connection. Everything in this life is artificial connection. It isn't real.
Yeah.
You know, the only things that are truly real in our life are our connections, first with God and first with other people. There's like the highest form of human experience is firstly connecting with God and secondly connecting with people and others. There's no higher experience.
Yeah.
We've tried to manufacture them. We try to say, hey, money will make you happy.
Right.
Hey, fame will make you happy. Success will make you happy. If you just have that thing, it'll make you happy.
Yeah.
If you just buy that or possess that, that'll make you happy. It's like, no, actually, if you really brought it back, That's why so many people are miserable. They're like, I have all of this stuff, but I have nothing. And it's like, because you have not connected with the Lord.
Right.
And then so many people that have everything are very lonely people because they sacrificed everything in their life to be successful because somebody told them that they would be the most fulfilled if they had it.
Right.
And it's like, man, I would just like a friend.
Right.
Man, I would just like my wife.
Yeah.
Man, I would just like whatever. And what is that? A human interaction and a human connection.
Yeah.
It's the highest level of experience.
Absolutely. And not to get off topic, but I really do feel like in this season of my life, it's funny, I think me and you both have an appreciation for social media, right? And the way that you can interact and also interested in the metrics on how these things work and the algorithm and stuff like that. And for me, it's like I've been doing some research recently, and it's like everything that gets posted, you can follow this rhythm, you can follow this whatever it is, but it's like what makes it go viral, get traction, whatever it is just like is the content. Is the content of what it is.
100%.
Like it is what it is. So if you just try to copy and do what everyone else is doing, then like it's just going to be more noise. So for me, in my mind, I'm like, okay, then what makes us different? What makes us different if we're going to do that? And so I started thinking social media, what does it make LS Church different? Why are we different, And I think it's, that's not my point. What I think what makes us different, just to say that, is that like, we're trying to, bring life in this situation and bring you actually to put your phone down and spend time with the Lord. But I bring that up to say the same way that like, if everything's the same and everything's noise, what makes us different is also why the church itself is so important too.
100%.
Is that like, if everything is becoming more and more about me, what I need, servicing me, the church and what it is, what makes us different, what makes us important, what makes us countercultural is that it's not about us. 100%. And it's not pointing towards us.
Yeah.
And we're not the focal point, Sure. And I say that to say, going back to what you were talking about with like these relationships, one with God and one with people, is that's very countercultural right now.
Yeah.
Because right now what is valued is I would even say is that like you need to spend that much time with relationships. Bro, I have long conversations with ChatGPT. That's not a real person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's personalized to me.
Right.
Right. It's real specific and tailored to me.
Right.
But what the church is offering is countercultural.
Right.
And it's not. And it's not that it's specific, but like this real thing, this being outside of space and time is, I am trying to have an encounter with that.
Sure.
And that relational piece of it is very foreign right now.
Sure.
The prioritization of these relationships, that's a very foreign idea.
Sure. Well, and just, historically in the church, especially in the last hundreds of years, not at the inception, not at Acts 2, but through the hundreds of years, I think this is going to be a strong statement, but just follow my heart on it.
Okay.
Is that like, I think when I interact with most people about Christianity, I think most people are okay. We can get on board with like, if you had a whole bunch of people in the room, like, can we rally around this? God, the big G God. Everybody in the room will raise their hand. Even people that don't even really believe in like Christianity, they're like, oh yeah, there's a superior being.
Yeah.
If you want him to have a big G or a little G, we're going to go with that. So now you kind of like, the room kind of like spreads a little bit when you talk about Jesus, right? Because like some people believe God, but don't believe that Jesus is the way. But Christianity itself is like, Jesus is the way. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So like we kind of split the room a little bit, because there are people that believe that there's other ways to God. We as Christians, Jesus followers, believe there's only one way, because that's literally what Jesus told us. If there was another way, he would have probably said so, but he didn't. He's very particular about him being the way.
Yeah.
I am the door.
Yeah.
The path is narrow. But in the Trinity, it's God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what I just said about the Holy Spirit. Like, so we're so transcendently different than anything you can understand, existing outside of time and space, spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is.
Mm-hmm.
And if we'd be honest with ourselves, we like the Trinity to be more like God, Jesus, and the scriptures.
Yeah, and the Bible.
And the Bible itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The good book.
Yeah. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when it breaks off to the Spirit, we lose the room.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's very mysterious.
It's fair. Yeah.
And that scripture that I was saying, it said, when I said on Sunday, was like walking in step with the Spirit. Mm-hmm. Walking in step with the Spirit of God is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Because it's very mystical.
Yeah.
It's very, up to interpretation.
Yep.
I mean, thank God we have the scriptures to give us to description and definition, and we know His ways.
And the Spirit will never contradict the scriptures.
100%.
Right.
100%. And so, however, it says, "My sheep hear my voice." Mm-hmm. The Spirit's going to come and teach you.
Mm. Yeah.
It's very interactive.
Yeah.
And like we like to look at Christianity a lot as like historic.
Mm. Yeah.
We're like studying history is the pinnacle of Christianity.
Yeah.
That studying the history of the church, the history of the scriptures, being a steward of the scriptures, those are all high tier things. I'm not trying to bring any sort of contention to those in any sort of way.
Yeah.
I read the scriptures daily. It's come to me for daily bread. Mm-hmm. We need these scriptures, and we need to know those scriptures more than ever now. But it says to walk in step with the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
And let the Spirit of God lead you.
Yeah.
And that is very difficult. Mm-hmm. That's very difficult.
Very slippery.
Yeah, it's very difficult to navigate. And like that's where it loses people a lot of times. It's like, how in the world do you navigate a relationship with a being that exists outside of space and time?
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
And I think, people and they'll go, it's difficult, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what I can get behind. I can get behind God. I can get behind Jesus. I can get behind the Word. But when you neglect the Spirit, you are missing out.
100%.
You are missing out on so many different things that God's pointing into you here, now, in that moment, how He's speaking to you, words for your life, different things like that. When you cut that piece out of it, that's not like I can get through this. No, you're missing a major part of it.
100%. And that's why I love, even over our stage, it says, encounter Jesus.
Yeah. And it doesn't say read about Him.
Yeah. It doesn't say read about Him, which we need to read about Him.
Yes.
He is the Word made flesh.
Yeah.
It says that the Word is the only thing in this world that will not pass away. Mm-hmm. The Bible is the most precious thing that we have available to us in the natural.
Yeah.
There's nothing more. The Bible, even though it feels like, because we just freely give it out, it has no price. It's actually the most priceless thing that we have on this planet, is the Holy Scriptures. And so, but it's a navigation of our relationship with the Spirit of God and walking in step with Him that is a hard thing to navigate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really good. So that piece of it, that secret place piece, I know we wanted to talk a little bit more like on some, some specifics of it, know? So,
sure.
You going in, you kind of talked about it, you're putting in these headphones, these noise canceling headphones, whatever it is. And you're sitting there. What are some good things if people are like, I'd like to do that, and I'd like to start tomorrow morning, the same way that you got inspired by hearing that message and those words, what more texture can you give to people so that they can have some good instruction or some encouragement when they are doing this attempt to go to the secret place?
Right. No, that's good. Yeah. So here's a couple of ideas. Here's a couple of thoughts. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Because God is not a genie, and God is not he's not a formula in any sort of way. So anything that I'm even going to say, if you just went and did this verbatim, you know,
yeah, who knows?
The amazing part about God is he talks to you exactly like you can hear. Mm-hmm. And so he's going to interact with you just like you would another person, you know? Like think about me and your relationship, right? The way we interact is totally different than the way you interact with your wife or one of your other friends, right? Because we have this unique relationship. And we have our own inside jokes,
right?
You know, and everything. The Lord wants that level of relationship with you because he wants
Which is a crazy thought in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants a relationship with you.
Yeah.
You know? And so he's going to talk to you exactly like you can hear, you know? And so like, that's the beautiful part about it. However, if it was, it says God conceals himself for his glory, and it's the glory of kings to go out and find it. So the thing that is on the table when you go spend time at the secret place is motive. That's what's on the table. Because everyone says this, and I say this myself, Lord, I just want you. You can have all this world. We sing these songs, right? We sing these songs. Lord, you can have all this world. You can take everything. Take all of me, Lord. I only want you. Well, that gets put to the test in the secret place. Because like he is going to take you on a process to see if that's true.
Yeah.
Now, the mercy of God and the grace of God is going to lure you. It's going to lure you. You know, it's just like a relationship. You know, when you first met your wife, you were like, I want to know her more. And then like, you want to know the depths of her. And you went to her and was like, hey, I want to know you more. And she's like, okay, we'll see. It's like, we'll see. I just told you I did. And it's like, yeah, well, we'll see. By what? Your actions. We'll see by the way that you treat me, by the way that you know, like the message I preached the last time about being singular focused. Okay, we'll see how deep you want this relationship to go.
Yeah.
We'll see your motives come out.
Yeah.
Because so many times our motives towards the Lord are we want something.
Yeah.
Just like our kids, you know, I had children and like, they're the nicest to me when they want something. Like they even change the way they talk.
Yeah.
They're like, salutations, Father. I hope you're having a good day. Is there anything I could get you today? And it's like, you don't talk to me like this.
What do you want?
What do you want?
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, well, I really want this new video game or I want this new pair of shoes or whatever. So our motives are challenged.
No, that's really good. I think that's an important piece too, because man, the way you're saying it, it's so enticing for even me personally to like, I need to go find out. I need to get all of my wants and desires out so I can just spend time with just, it's what you're saying. It's like your motives are going to be tested and you'll probably burn out everything that you ever want in the first couple minutes. And then you're just left with you and him.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And like, that's what people are like, I did everything. And what's the end? It's like the end, you wait. Wait for what? Wait for him to talk. But he's not going to immediately talk. He might out of his mercy and his grace.
Yeah.
To lure you on. It says, taste and see that the Lord is good.
Yeah.
You know, I heard this take on this just not too long ago. The Lord's always going to give you a taste. He's good like that. He's gracious like that. Are you going to be able to see that it's him? Oh, he's drawing you more. Oh, he's saying yes and come. Come. And there's a story in the scriptures about somebody in the secret place. And it says the presence of God was coming by. And it says, go out and see. And it said a wind blew through. And it blew everything away. But the Lord wasn't in the wind. And then it said an earthquake came and shook the foundations. But the Lord wasn't in the earthquake. And it said then a fire came and it burned away everything. But the Lord wasn't in the fire. And it says, then a whisper came and the Lord was in the whisper. And so many times that's how it feels in the secret place. you're gonna pray, you're going to read the scriptures, you're going to worship the Lord, and then the wind's going to come and blow all the stuff that's just sitting on the surface of your life away. All they don't matter. And then he's going to come. He's going to shake your foundation a little bit, shake what you think, shake your theology, shake who you are. A little bit. And it's good. It's a good shaking. And then he's going to come with the burning. He's going to turn the fire up in your life, and all those imperfections are going to come to the surface. And he's so good at pruning and scraping away all those things. And then when you come to the end of all that, he's going to whisper, and it's going to be so loud. His whisper is going to be so loud because we've gotten everything else out of the way.
That's so good.
You know?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful when he does that.
So are you in there? Are you listening to, or how do you start off? Are you praying? Are you talking to God?
You know, I heard somebody talk about this not too long ago, and I thought it was a really cool idea. And he kind of broke it through the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of talked about that too. Jesus was in a certain place. Jesus followed what we're saying here. He you know, and I love that about Jesus. He's the best leader. Because he leads from the front. He doesn't tell you, hey, do this thing. He goes, no, I'm going to show you what to do. So, and the disciples were like, hey, what are you doing over there? We want to learn how to pray too. And so the way he did that, he's like, okay, cool. Well, our Father, who art in heaven, first bringing perspective of who God is to you in your life. He's your Father. You know? And then hallowed be your name. That means holy be your name. That's bringing depth to who he is. So, you know, I spend the first 45 minutes, you know, that's a long time of just worshiping the Lord and praising him. I'll listen to worship music, some soaking style music or something, and I'll just lift up his name. Lord, I just love you. And I just spend time just loving on the Lord, giving him my affection, you know? And then it says, give us this day our daily bread. That's what it says in the Lord's Prayer. And so I'll read the scriptures or I'll read a proverb or the Lord will have me on some little journey, you know, where I'll be reading the scriptures, and he'll just start speaking to you. He'll just start speaking to you, and I'll just write down what he's saying, write down what he's doing, you know, or I'll just be praying, you know, praying over something. And you know, I heard it said like this one time. It's kind of like if you had little bubbles come to the surface of water. It feels like that sometimes about what the Lord says. So I might just be in there worshiping the Lord, and then this little bubble of a thought will come up. And then I'm like, oh, I need to write that down. And I'll write that down on a little list of something. And then, or I'll be in the scriptures, and he'll just like, bam, highlight a scripture to me, write that down. And it's the Lord speaking to you. And you'll know it's the Lord because it'll bring so much energy to you. It'll bring so much life to you. And it'll just be like, it could be like one little saying, one little sentence, whatever. And it'll literally sustain you. It's beautiful.
Yeah. That's really good. So that, you know, that following the Lord's Prayer, you know, give us this day our daily bread. And then you start reading that word, right? And then those pieces right there, those are different pathways to start that, right?
Correct.
Those are different ways. You know, you sitting there and worshiping and praying, that's a pathway. You know, you sitting into some, you know, some instrumental, you know, soaking music or music without words. So you're just really focusing. That's a pathway. Reading the Bible, that's a pathway. Those are all just ways to invite the Lord in, 100%. You know what I mean? And get yourself in the correct posture.
100%.
You know, and then from whatever happens after that is the Lord sitting there. But that's the attempt.
That's the attempt. Yeah. For sure. You know, a lot of it has to do with you perceiving things. You know, in that second picture I showed that day, there was a chair sitting across from the chair. Yeah. And, you know, I was just doing this by faith. You know, I've heard lots of people do different things. They would you know, this one pastor I know, he sits in this chair, and he starts with, I'm seated in heavenly places. I'm seated in heavenly places, because that's really where it says in the scripture we are. We're seated in heavenly places with Christ Jesus right now by faith. And so he starts his day, by faith, I'm seated in heavenly places.
Yeah.
You know? Just as a natural thing to bring a supernatural context.
Yeah.
But, you know, I really was like, okay, Lord, it says to sit at your feet. And I just put a chair across from me. And I just imagined Jesus sitting in that chair. And I would sit on the ground at the feet of that chair. And I would go, all right, Lord, just like you taught Mary your ways at your feet, I'm sitting here. Teach me your ways at your feet. And I went through a whole season of sitting on the ground with my Bible, like, all right, Lord, teach me your ways right here. As a thing that I really felt the Lord on. So, you know, he takes you on a journey.
Yeah.
He takes you on a journey if you're willing to sit there long enough. But so many times, we're very uncomfortable in the silence, in the sitting still. Yeah. You know? And so it would be like me and your relationship, and I just busted open the door. I was like, hey, Caden, this, I need this from you, and this, and this, and you're cool, and this, and I just ran out the door. You'd be like, what the heck, you know?
You can get a word out.
Yeah, I just got monsooned, you know? And it's like, well, I wouldn't spend time with Caden. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's
that's a good way to look at it.
Well, like, what'd he say? And it's like, nothing. I don't know. Everything's messed up. And it's like, you never even put yourself in a position to hear anything.
Yep.
If this was like a real relationship, I'd be like, hey, Caden.
And you'd wait.
I'd wait for you to say something back.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, like, yeah, but like I said, hey, God, and then like nothing happened.
Well, I think it's another important part too. It's like, you know, I said, hey, and you're like, well, what happened? Well, I had to go because I had we're not even setting time up for that, you know? 100%. And if you could think about all the phrases that, well, that's way too long of a list. You've told me a million phrases growing up. One of the biggest phrases that you say, that I say all the time, and I carry this, and I don't let myself become, you know, victim to my schedule because of the phrase of, it's not that I didn't have time for it. I didn't make time for it.
You didn't make time for it. Yeah.
You've said this from the longest time when I told you I was like, you know, really young. I want to go to the NBA, whatever. And you're like, okay, well, when are you practicing? Well, I have all this different stuff. Well, if you really want to go to the NBA, you wake up early in the morning, you'd go do dribbling drills in the driveway, right? And I was like, okay, well, then I'll start doing them. Or I would go, okay, then I'm not going to do that, whatever it is, right? 100%. You know, but it's true. We all have time in our lives for things that are important. Pastor Bunk always says the Rockets game analogy. You know, he's like, I'm always super busy until someone's got Rockets tickets. Then all of a sudden my Wednesday cleared up. Right. Fill in the blank of whatever it is, whatever your thing is. You know, maybe it's not Rockets games. Maybe it's going to watch, you know, maybe it's watching TV. Maybe it's scrolling on our phones. Maybe it's going in on a date, whatever it is. And there are things that aren't even necessarily bad. Yeah. Right? There's things that you can go, oh, well, yeah, well, obviously if you do that instead of spending time with Jesus, that's bad. Well, it's not even necessarily things that are bad. It's just prioritization. Sure. And I love you saying this meeting, like, I got to wake up early for this meeting and I got to get prepared. Well, guess what? What if you took that same mindset and go, well, I have this meeting. I need to wake up and spend time for the Lord because and now it's getting up earlier. It's finding these different times in your days. And I think what you said was really good when you first started. You were like, I just started with 5 minutes. Yeah. And I couldn't make it, but I still shot for 5 minutes. Sure. You know, I think that's a really important step for people to know is that, like, give yourself, it's like when we go to we always talk about going to the weight room and people want to work out, go, all right, well, I guess it's my day one, so I'm going to try 225 at the bench press. And you're like, bro, you are going to hate working out and you're going to hurt yourself, you know, sure. But doing it in moderation. Now, and it's the same thing about, I think, working out as well, is that, like, you don't want to also get so comfortable. You don't want to get in an area where you go, well, I'm 2 years in and I've been doing 5 minutes every day. Like, well, I think the Lord's going to be drawing you deeper at that point.
100%. You know, and that's a really good point. Mm-hmm. You know, you can sit here and listen to this and be like, bro, you know, setting aside time, and it can have like a negative context to it. But hear me on this. God's kingdom works directly opposite of man's kingdom in the sense of hunger. In man's kingdom, when you're hungry, you become satisfied. But in God's kingdom, when you become hungry, he just makes you hungrier. And the Lord is always wanting to draw you deeper. He's always pulling on you. If you will give him the space to try it, if you give him the space to talk to you, he's going to be trying to pull you away. He's always trying to pull you away. He was all through the scriptures. He's always trying to pull his people away. He pulled them out of Egypt because he just wanted to be with them.
Yeah.
He's pulled you out of this world. You're no longer of this world.
Yeah.
Because he wants to be with you.
Yep.
He's just pulling you away at all times. And if you follow that, it's just like anybody that you love. What do you want? What do you want most out of them? Their time. Their time. And it's like, could you just give me more time? Could you just give me more time? It's like, I got stuff to do. It's like, but the people you love, you want more time with.
Yeah, and you won't accept substitutes. Well, I don't need more time, but I get you really good gifts for Christmas and your birthday.
Sure.
You're like, throw those away. I want time with you. That's what I want, you know?
Yeah.
And God knows that more than anybody because he wants that time with us.
100%. So if you jump out there to spend time with him and you keep yourself open, you'll hear his voice calling you more, calling you more. I'm telling you, there are times where he's like, can you just spend more time with me? And I'm like, Lord, I got there's a lot of stuff on the list. He's like, just 5 more minutes.
And believe it or not, he'll work out the things on the list.
He'll work out the things on the list.
Which I think is a really important part.
Yeah. He'll work it all out.
He'll work it out.
He'll work it all out. But I want to say this too, that every day is not this glorious, the Lord just meets me.
Yeah.
There are many days where seemingly he doesn't talk, or seemingly nothing bubbles up and nothing. I mean, those days outweigh days that there are.
Yeah.
So
in the but think about that. That's why I love it so much. Because what's the worst that could happen? Right. You spend hours praising God and reading His Word.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
that's the missed shot. If you say, you know, if the made shot is Jesus comes and you have this encounter with him, the missed shot is you get to read, you get to spend time in his word and praise him and worship him. That's not a missed shot, by the way.
Yeah,
you know,
100%. And it's always pulling on your motives. It's always pulling on your motives. I just a few weeks ago, I just had a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I had a lot of questions and things, and I was just kind of flailing, you know, and I'm asking God all these questions because it's not bad to ask God questions, like, and have prayers and different things that, like, he wants to answer all those. He's a good God.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just frustrated. And, in the kindest, most gentle way, he goes, "Why did you come out here?" Why'd you come spend time with me? And I was just instantly convicted, and I just started weeping. And I'm like, I am so sorry. You know what I mean? Because it's you think like, Lord, I just want to be with you. Nothing else matters. You know, it's just like when you get married, you're going to stand across from your wife and go, for better or worse, richer or poor, death do us part, sickness and health. And there's a piece of you that's like, for better, for richer, for health, for, you know what I mean? Is this like, if all this stuff works out the way that I want it, I'm into this relationship.
Yeah.
If it starts going rocky, I'm kind of going to be out. And that's really what you're like really feeling a lot of times. And it's the same way with the Lord. It's like, no, Lord, I promise, top priority, just spending time with you. That's the only thing that matters in this life.
Yeah.
And then like you get into a certain situation or a certain thing, and like it turns into something else.
Yeah.
And in the most gentle way, just the other day, he was like, "Why'd you even come out here?" And I was like, got me.
Yeah.
You know? But you know what it did? It recalibrated me.
Yeah.
He did it so kindly. It's just a recalibration.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. I'm thinking way too much about this stuff. I got too much stuff ahead of you. And you know what's crazy? The Lord will work it all out.
Yep.
Just like you said. And guess what? It won't be like you think.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So
Nothing
then
like
God will bring the solution that I was going to do. No, he's way better than you.
Nah. And it isn't going to happen any way you think, and it's going to be crazy, and people are going to think you're crazy. Let me tell you just a couple little testimonies before we go.
Yeah.
You know, we were moving, and the Lord was not telling me where we were moving. And I was trying to wait on him to hear where we're moving. And everybody's asking me. They're like, okay, where are y'all going to move? I'm like, I don't know. The Lord hasn't told me yet. And they're like, what? And I'm like, the Lord hasn't told me yet. And so we just happened to have a house showing. And, we had these couple of dynamics in our life. And we showed up at this park that we'd never been at before. And we were like, wow, this is a cool park. It has a basketball goal right next to a playground. And that's a dynamic of our house and everything. And we're like, we like this part of town. This is pretty cool. And we go down this random street as we leave. And there was this house that was like stood out to us on the left side. And we were like, that's a really cool house. And it was for rent. And a couple of weeks go by. And they were like, hey, you're selling your house and you have less than 2 weeks to get out of it. And we're like, what in the world? So we start looking at all these houses, all these rent houses and everything, and nothing was like landing. And we actually went and looked at that house that I saw, but there were a lot of pieces of it that weren't coming together. That would a lot of improvements would have had to have happened for it to like land. But I kept getting these visions. Like I got this vision of Olivia, our daughter, in the backyard of this house, and it had a fence. But this house in this neighborhood didn't have a fence. And just all these little things. And it was getting closer and closer. I mean, we were less than a week from moving out of the house, and we didn't have a place to live yet. And people, and my realtor, my wife, everybody's like, where are y'all going to live at? And I was like, the Lord hasn't told me yet. And the Lord had made me very aware to not get in front of him. And I was like, Lord, it's coming down to the wire. Are you going to tell me or what? And we had these two houses we were looking at, and one of them was out of our budget, and one of them didn't have the fence. And we were like, what are we going to do? And so I sent offers to one, and I sent a thing about the improvements to the other, and we hadn't heard anything back. And this was a Friday, and I was with the Lord, and he never spoke. And our realtor was like, so man, what you going to decide on one of these two houses? I was like, he hasn't told me yet. And he goes, well, when are you going to make a decision? And I was like, I don't know. Let me go see with the Lord. And I spent time with the Lord, and he didn't tell me. And I was like, you're not going to tell me till Monday, are you? And I just had this feeling I wasn't going to know until Monday. And so everybody was just, we were moving. Had to be out of our house on Wednesday. And the Lord, I knew the Lord. I was like, you're not going to tell me till Monday. I know you're not. And he didn't tell me till Monday. And that was the worst 4 days of my life. I mean, I was in such agony in my life. I'm like, Lord, everybody's waiting on this decision. Could you just please tell me? And he was not telling me. And it was like, just wait on me, wait on me. And everybody around me thought I was crazy. They were like,
because in the world, you are crazy.
That is crazy. He's like, you have a wife and a kids and all these responsibilities, and you don't know where you're about to take them. That's not being a very good leader. You know? And like, I got a lot of heat for it. And I was like, but you know what? No, I'm not going to step in front of the Lord. He's going to tell me. And Monday, he told me, and we moved to less than 2 days later. And it was the best move. It was the best place. It was the best thing for us.
The Lord even worked the fence out.
We even worked the fence out. Worked everything out exactly as planned. But I had to wait on him. And if I could have jumped in front of him. There were a lot of good, like real logical things to do. And I could have jumped, but I was like, no, I'm going to stay by the Lord. And so, but man, there's a lot of pressure there to wait on the Lord, because it's not going to happen any way like you think it's going to happen. And that's the hardest part. It's the most frustrating part. If you're really trying to wait on the Lord.
So good. So good. This message was awesome. Sitting at Jesus' feet in the secret place. What a back to basics concept, and I think super good. And I even think this podcast too adds so much more to it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully this gave you a little bit more texture to it to be able to attempt this for yourself. And I think one of the biggest encouragements is don't give up. Don't stop. Keep attempting. The Lord honors our attempt.
Right.
100%. So keep doing that. And let's keep on going on in this season, and let this be an encouragement. Let this be the point in your life where you're sitting down at the feet of Jesus and you flipped the man's kingdom priorities over on its head.
Sure. And the thing that I think about this is what an honor.
Yeah.
What an honor it is. If we can really understand that the creator of the universe, think about this idea as we close here. The creator of the universe, the one who sits on the throne, the one who exists outside of time and space is coming to you going, will you go away with me? Will you spend some time with me? He really wants to reveal himself to you in a very tangible, relational way. The creator of the universe. Isn't that a wild concept?
Crazy.
Isn't that a wild concept? And he's just waiting on us. He's waiting on us. It says, I stand at the door and knock. Would anybody answer the door?
How backwards is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. A king is waiting on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to come in. Just carve out some time for me and let's do this.
It's the least that we could do.
Yeah.
So good.
Powerful.
We thank you guys for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.